Mixed reactions have continued to trail the ruling of a federal high court in Abuja, where criminal gangs known as bandits have now been outlawed as terrorists. The latest of such is from Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, who spoke to TVC News exclusively. He feels the move by the federal government has now made it impossible for him and other clerics to negotiate with the bandits. He is also apprehensive that bandits may now partner with Boko Haram terrorists, since they now share the same fate.
We don't want to push them into that terror beyond what they are doing now, because yes, it can get worse. They have shown us their willingness to negotiate. So people that are ready to negotiate, why are you rushing to just declare them bandits so that you can use whatever weapons you bought? Before, they used to catch Boko Haram and present them to the authorities in Zamfara. But now if they're all terrorists, secondly, the only door that remains, that is we clergy to go in and negotiate with them, is closed down permanently. Because I will not take myself again to contact them, because it means you are aiding terrorists.
All right, joining me in the studio for more on this is Razak Ulukobad. He's the national president of the Campaign for Dignity in Governance. We'll begin with you, and then when we have our second guest, we'll bring him in. But Razak, good morning.
Thank
you for joining us.
Good morning, viewers at home.
Right. Now, the issue with, bandits, the activities of bandits and persons, the cause for them to be prescribed as terrorists the conversation has been on for some time now. And then we saw government giving reasons on why it was delayed. But now we have seen the courts going ahead, to outlaw them as such, as terrorists. And divergent reactions have trailed this. We saw what we just played on the screen of Sheikh Gumi, who has always been talking about, he says he has been mediating with the government with regards to the bandits. But for you, what are your impressions of this move by the government to prescribe the terrorists? Would it really change anything?
Well, it comes with more responsibility.
On whose part?
On the side of the government. And that's why there's that reluctance. First, bandits do what they do for economic reasons. They raid, they take people's possession of people's property, they dispossess them, and it goes on and on like that. But terrorism, in most cases, is for ideological reason. And the challenge in dealing with terrorism is higher than that of the bandits. If a terrorist is arrested and prosecuted, he shouldn't be allowed to mingle with the society immediately. There's a therapy for them, because it's an analogical matter. So, are you sure that the convention he had before he became a terrorist, has he departed from it? And that's why it's a long process. That's why the government is very reluctant to do so. Because once you pick up a terrorist, if he's not killed, once you pick him up, in some countries, that is why people who are terrorists are given life sentence. Because you are never sure of departing. Because if it's a terrorist, Islamic terrorist now, according to them, there must be engagement by scholars to ascertain the position they are at the moment, that as it departed, are there conviction that Christians are not your enemy or the enemy of Islam? Are you convinced that that section of Quran that you kept quoting, that all people who are non-Muslims should be killed, are you convinced now? So it's a long process. The therapy for them is long. But bandits, once you arrest bandits, after punitive measure, you go back home. So it's not like that. So what we have in our hand now is that you have a whole lot of region, insecurity of a region, that has been classified or categorized as a terrorist. That means the people and the government must know where we are into. It's going to take more resources, apart from the enabling legal framework to allow them to use certain equipment. Apart from that, the challenge is what I've told you. Because for terrorists who pursue an ideology, the fear people like us have when they say that they should be recruited into the Nigerian army is that after 6 months, no, that's not to de-radicalize. So it's a long procedure. So in Nigeria, we have not made up our mind.
But that issue has been cleared at some point, that is not what was going on.
What was not going on?
That after they are being, recruited into the military.
Not into the military, to free them into the society.
Oh, all right.
To allow them to
the amnesty program.
Yes. No amnesty program. There should be a therapy for them. You have to be able to ascertain.
For the bandits?
In some country, no, for terrorists. Okay. It's an ideological thing. In some country, once he's a terrorist, you can't go back to free society again.
So it means now that program that the government was embarking on initially for the bandits, the repentant bandits, it has to come to an end. It
has come to an end, right? Because they are no longer bandits again. That category they put them now is a category where you have to be in touch with them forever. It's not, I stole a goat and after punitive measure go back to society. It's a long procedure, and that's why the government recognize the challenge, the responsibility on their part, that it's not a common crime. Terrorism is not a common crime where, if you look, I've read the history of terrorism, is less than 10% of them completely depart from their path. It's a difficult thing. Even the activists, we the activists that we don't kill anybody, we don't do anybody. I've seen an activist for over 30 years now. So believing that democratic socialism, where you say somebody must not be embarrassingly rich and someone must be ridiculously poor. That's what we pursue, and that to that extent that we must be in support of government that will do the needful to the people to have an egalitarian society. So now we have to brace up.
Are we ready to brace up?
Because what Gumi have said now, there will be an alliance.
You think that's what it's going to be?
It's automatic that there will be it's a gun thing, and the moment you see that the terrorists will approach them. The bandits may want to be reluctant, but the terrorists will approach them. That either you like it or not, we are one now, and that is the recruitment line that we must constantly break. That the recruitment line that we keep them terrorists, we have under recruitment. We should investigate what's the catch. Why are we getting more recruitment into terrorist organizations in Nigeria? So it's an analogical thing. That there's a conviction somewhere that and the approach to it by military men is different now. If you say someone is a terrorist, more than half of them don't want to come back with their life. It's difficult to fight with such people. Bandits is economic reason. I just want to make money and go and enjoy my life. Terrorism is not like that. Terrorism is, I am pursuing an ideology.
So our
the slogan,
approach, yes.
The slogan, it's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. That kind of slogan is what people, they remember and say, no, this is a battle, a supreme battle that if my life goes for it, fine. So the approach is completely different. I will advise the federal government to strategize in the approach. Because once the bandits also know that the government is not going to go back again, there's a tendency that they may also be recruited into full-blown terrorism. So the approach is completely different. These are people who know very well that they may get killed, and they don't care. Bandits are strategic about it. They strike, they pick, they get money, and after some years, bandits may not be bandits again. Bandits may say, I don't want to do this again, I've made enough money. Or some will say that, why have we been doing it before? Terrorism is not like that. Terrorism is an analogical thing. It's a conviction that I believe in what I'm fighting for.
From what you have seen on the part of government, are we ready to take up this responsibility, re-strategize? Some have said, some experts are saying that we need to buy more equipment, invest more monies in equipping our security personnel on the ground. Are you going to are you confident that we are going to see that change in approach, the confidence that something is going to change? Because from what Sheikh Gumi said, he said it's not going to change anything, prescribing them or outlawing them as terrorists. Are we ready for that? Because you must also consider our debt burden. Do we have the monies for all of this?
The thing we may achieve is that it's no longer a joke. The gradual method our military used before to fight the bandits may change. There are higher level of equipment that they may be ready to use against them now to rout them out. But like what Gomi has said, it is more of an ideological thing. The gun thing is to ensure that no harm is done by them. But to stop the recruitment is more of orientation. It's more of engagement.
How much have we achieved with that over the years? I mean, we've been on with this for years
all
now.
over the world has gotten it wrong.
Right.
If you go to the Palestine today, the recruitment slogan for most of the terrorists in the world is that they are killing our brothers in Palestine. And that's why the American government told, particularly Obama told, and Biden now told Bush that this is a recruitment slogan for them. This is your area as a recruitment center, that this has to change its own approach. It should be a two-state solution. Well, so in Nigeria too, the same thing, we can't blame the Nigerian government for it because it's a universal thing that we must not joke with people who are killing our people. So to that extent, the government has done the demand, met the demand of Nigerians. Okay. The demand of Nigerians is that I am also one of that says that well, it's gotten to a point where you have to stop using stick again. You have to use horsewhip on these guys again because the whole axis in that place has been taken over by bandits, and that means there should be a massive military presence there. So I support the government with what they have done, but it comes with a higher responsibility, and we must be willing to support them.
All right.
It must not come to a point where Nigerians will say that how can we be using Tucano against ourselves? It's going beyond that.
Because that also is one of the concerns, human rights issues, which has also been a concern with regards to the use of the Tucano.
We have to choose. Is it our life or human rights?
All right, let's
that's when you are alive. That when you are alive,
we have to bring in our next
okay.
guest now, security consultant Richard Amuwa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. I'm certain that you have been following developments with regards to the outlawing of bandits as terrorists now, and there has been divergent reactions with regards to this development. Some have said that perhaps this wouldn't change anything basically, but for you, what do you see happening?
Good morning.
Morning.
I hope you can hear me.
Absolutely.
Okay. Like we always say in our local parlance, it's better late than never. But to answer your question about declaring bandits as a terrorist, my colleague in the main studio has set it up. One question I asked myself, even when there was a lot of agitation that the bandits should be declared terrorists, I asked myself, the one that are terrorists that we know, what have we really done with them? And how far have we gone? And how has the battle been won? Apart from using the word technically defeating them and other stuff, these guys are still waging powers and doing all kind of things. But I did understood why people said that we should declare bandits as terrorists, because don't forget the country that sets us the weapons. They're very concerned, about human rights, and you can't treat bandits like terrorists if they are not terrorists. Because, like my colleagues in the studio said again, bandits are supposed to be we call them small thieves. They come, they steal, they run away, and they go out. They're just thieves. They're bandits in the bush, and but looking at the way they operate in Zamfara, in Kaduna and other part of northern part of Nigeria, you could see that they are terrorists. So what that means now is that with the volcano, with the equipment, all the equipment Nigeria have bought to fight the terrorists. So I think we can now use it on them. But like you said, what impact, even though they are declared terrorists today, do we have the willpower? Do we have the what's it called? The political will to take up these people? So I think that's my take on that.
The political will and the responsibility is a major issue as we speak, which is something our guest in the studio also spoke about. But as it stands now, the government, something has to be done, because the responsibility of any government is the protection of life and property. Now, if you have decided to outlaw these persons, where do you think government should begin to addressing this matter and dealing with it as it should? Because as some have said, perhaps the carrot approach that we tried to use over time did not result in anything. Now that we have decided to use the stick approach, how should we go about it?
You see, it's kind of a very delicate sometimes when you say or you see what is going on in, around those bandits and other stuff. For example, we have Gumi who kind of is a spokesperson to those bandits, if I might use that word. And a lot of us have said that if Gumi knows where these guys are, and despite all the friendly approach the government has been trying to use to talk to them, it's not working. As it's not working, why don't you ask Gumi to step aside and face these guys on one-on-one? Because seriously, I think they are taking advantage of the government being calm on them, kind of. They are taking advantage of the fact that government does not really want to go after them the way they're supposed to go after them. So, and that's why it sounds so odd that we have somebody speaking for them. And people are like, excuse me, if you have somebody speaking for these people, does it mean that it's an organized group? So I think declaring them now as terrorists, the man called Gumi need to step aside, and the troops need to get in there and do what they need to do. That's my take.
All right. We'll have to leave this conversation here now. Razak, you wanted to say something?
If I were Gumi, I will not go there again. For one reason. Gumi is an Islamic cleric. Terrorists pursue a particular Islamic ideology, which may not likely be the same with what Gumi is pursuing. So once they have become terrorists, it has pushed Gumi directly opposite the ideology what to Boko Haram. So he may be risking his life to say that he want to pursue that line of discussion with bandit that has been classified as terrorist or categorized as terrorist now. I'm
certain he is aware of that.
Yes, absolutely. That's why he's saying that anyway, he may not want to go.
We'll have to leave the conversation here now. Thank you so much, security consultant Richard Amoa and National President of the Campaign for Dignity in Governance, Razak Ulukoba, for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you.
Thank you.